YouTube's, Facebook, and Zoom. Here we go. What's up, everybody? Okay. You're being live streamed now. What's up? I'm Yogi Chris. We'll start in a second. I don't have music to play because this plays my speaker, honestly. Okay. What's up, TikTok? This is Socially Comfortable, Becoming Socially Comfortable. I'll click record here in a second. No, don't connect there. 920 yoga. Good. Good. We can add a channel. Where do I want to add? Let's go there. What's up? What's up, TikToks? Okay, we'll start, I think, in just a second. Let me quality check everything here. All right. Okay. What's up, everybody? Let's click record here. We're ready to go. Welcome, everyone. Special episode of Enlightened Masculinity podcast. I'm Yogi Chris, PhD, founder of Ninth Limb Yoga, captain of IMC Nation, a worldwide movement that's based here in San Jose, California. We have bases all over the place. We've been growing bases. We're up to 7 bases now. Base 8, base 9 on tap, right around the corner. And we're streaming to multiple platforms here. So if you hear me like refer to certain accounts or account by name or TikToks, Instagrams, whatever, then that's what's happening. Because this recording, it goes up later on Apple, Spotify, all that. So if you're catching the recording, then leave a review. Everybody else, you can catch over 300 episodes there, me interviewing IMC Nation top brass, me interviewing other individuals outside of IMC Nation, you know, sexual experts, breathing experts. I interviewed the founder of Laughter Yoga. If you ever saw Laughter Yoga, it has like hundreds of thousands of followers. And it's a really interesting thing, not to pitch Laughter Yoga, but it's like if you force yourself to laugh, you know, you could fake laugh, but force yourself to do it for 5 or 10 minutes, you will induce so much bliss because of the way the diaphragm fucks with your central nerves that the act of laughing will completely change your state of mind. And he started a whole movement. So that's way back when, years ago, that I interviewed him, but now we're up to speed here. This episode is socially comfortable or just becoming comfortable. And, you know, sometimes people will ask me about my yoga and how that can help them in social dynamics. And I think it's important to recognize that at the end of the day, everything you're doing with your business and ambition is a social dynamic that you're chasing. You want a certain success with women, choice with women, certain kind of relationships, certain networking opportunities and whatever. And it's a social dynamic wherever you go. And even if you're at home and you're being some digital internet marketer, you're trying to portray a certain, that's how you influence people to buy or anything. Whatever you're doing in life, you want quality relationships around you, quality opportunities that, you know, are aligned with your values. A lot of people have compromised their values. They don't even know what activities being aligned with their values means, but some of you do. So I'll talk to you. And so the quality of your life is definitely going to be in the quality of your relationships and your social networking in life, your mating networking, your business networking. And so becoming comfortable becomes relevant to that, because if you're uncomfortable, if you're tense, jittery, withdrawn, however it becomes manifest in so many degrees. It's not like a light switch where you either are or you aren't. I mean, we could argue it that way, but I want you to see it more as a gradient. How comfortable, how uncomfortable. And then there's 1,000 million different contexts day to day that you find yourself in, just in as simple as you're talking to somebody and then your mom calls and then you have this business call to step into. That's 3 different contexts completely. How comfortable are you when you're by yourself, when you're working out, when you're about to sleep? Like 3 different contexts. How comfortable are you? And then, like I said, like I built the whole premise of the episode, like it's a social dynamic, what you're trying to achieve in life. So really, yes, how comfortable you are with yourself and all the private moments and in business and whatever, but you're doing all of that for the social dynamic. So how comfortable are you in social dynamics? And to what level? Again, it's a gradient. So around more valuable people, around more beautiful people, it changes it versus other people that, like, the dog park is going to be different than some high class venue or a ball or whatever, red carpet event. So becoming comfortable ultimately is relevant to that end. And I see a lot of yoga practitioners, yogis, spiritual people, and whatever, they are doing their best to become comfortable in isolation or alone, and then build a social dynamic from that. At the ultimate end, at the best, in the best examples, they're building a following and they have a social dynamic, and they get that weird social dynamic of teacher follower, and they can't step outside of that. They're probably really odd outside of that if you saw them as an equal or contemporary, as a friend or whatever. That's my experience with a lot of the yoga masters and spiritual masters and whatever. And I've met a bunch of them. And not all, and it's to a certain level. I saw that a social evolution was very different than the evolution of whatever skill, craft, or whatever that you may come across. That you want to be the best CEO or the best stock trader or the best musician, or like you could learn from the best at that. That doesn't mean their character is the best. And what you're wanting in life, what you're probably pursuing that activity for anyway, in the first place, is the fulfillment of life that comes from character. How are you with your mate, with your family, with your tribe, with your all groups that you're associated with? A lot of people don't even have deep connections to measure against, and the connections they do have are not that good. And that's what we find. I think everybody in IMC Nation finds as we grow further. We see how fucked up everybody else is. They don't know how to relate with each other. They're really riding on the wave of prior commitments where everybody had made good first impressions, or families had introduced, or you grew up with kids back when you were less jaded, and so you had a real connection. And then you grew apart, but you still hold on to that connection because it's the best you got. That's why I was able to move on from the places I was raised. I moved as a kid with my dad and mom and family. And then I left, and I went halfway across the country to university because I had better connections there. Actually, everybody there was striving to be the best wrestler in the nation. Some of them in the world. Olympians were training in. I was grappling with Olympians, or future Olympians, and then a few guys at that time that were trying to be on the Olympic. They were on the Olympic ladder, like they were ranked on the world team, and so that was a much stronger connection than anything I had going on in Maryland. The best connections I had in Maryland were with people that wanted to be the best, but we scattered and went to different schools and whatever. And, so I went where I had better connections. Then I found a different, then after wrestling, I got real into drugs or whatever. Of course, those are my connections. Then I got real into this certain subject that I went to the University of Florida for my PhD for. All of a sudden, I had deeper connections with all of those people because, man, we could talk endlessly outside of just passionately about these things that we liked about energy and environment and ecology and whatever. But of course I was developing yoga. So I had these two groups of people. But I couldn't really relate with the yogis. I was a hard-nosed, white background wrestler, athlete. I could mostly relate with them with the psychedelics and the drugs and whatever. Yoga, I was exploring and learning from them. So I respected that, and I would learn that. As I got better socially, I realized how different I was from them. And ended up having a whole falling out a year or two after I was following AZD with my yoga teacher and the whole group of people. But I transcended. I left the university wrestlers for the druggies. I left all the druggies for the academics. I left the academics for the yogis. It was before IMC Nation had any integration at all. Funny enough, I knew AZD, I knew Brian Casella, I knew David Coker, who dropped out later, and that's it. And nobody knew anybody. I remember meeting Cameron McGriff and Miracle Phillips and Johnny Freedom Ranger and Akash and guys outside of coming to Los Angeles or San Jose. I was the first to do that. And so I was involved in the yoga community, but I left that for the IMC community because it kept getting better. The relationships kept getting better. And of course, the alignment with my life and purpose and survival and quality of living kept getting more and more integrated, more and more better, more better. So that was a wonderful thing. That was worth exchanging everything for, because everything I was doing and saving for and building for was that. You got to recognize that for yourself. That what else are you doing besides doing everything to pursue better relationships, better opportunities, which come with relationships, unless you're going to be blackmailed into some, cabal, and they give you, money or give you opportunity because you compromised yourself and they can leverage you forever. Unless if you're doing a merit-based thing, then you got to be good. And as you get better, it's unavoidable that to be good, you also got to be good socially, or it's going to be very limited and you may crash if you ever fuck up. So I'm successful within IMC, right? I'm the best, supposedly, people say, at different things. Definitely in the business side of things, closeness to AZD. I live with him. I've been granted a position to live with him forever by him and ranked up. Well, okay, so not bragging, saying that's okay, I'm the best at this. Guess what? I was the best at things before. I was the best in my academics. I was the best yogi at what I did. I did certain muscle activations there was one guy, the guy I learned from that I had a falling out. He was better at that. And he kept evolving it. But what I did with handstands, with acro, with teaching vinyasa outside of the framework of what he was teaching, and as an ability as a communicator, aware, I was really pulling on what I learned from AZD and these social dynamics teachers. They have wisdom, especially AZD, but mystery, all of them, they have so much wisdom on the dynamics of life and reality that the yogis, who were pretty much, for the most part, just feminists who had learned how to stretch and breathe and sometimes, do handstands. But they weren't modern day philosophers. They were repeating some old Sanskrit that they had learned, and they were really just liberal feminists that were teaching their liberal feminism in addition to posture stuff. So some of them are exceptional in posture stuff. I learned from them, breathing and whatever. If they were master at a skill, I can learn the skill and respect the teacher. But I had something because of training with AZD and VK at the time so I was the best at that. And of course, building a business from the ground up, even the guy I'd learned the techniques from relied on, he didn't have the social dynamics to sell. I was selling myself and building my name, building my brand. I was going to go abroad. I was already researching Switzerland or Sweden. I had staff members doing that. That's what Johnny Freedom did. I was already looking at Canada, almost booking gigs. A lot of times you call places 4 or 5 times to get a gig. I had called all of Canada, all of the big enough studios. I was going to get a gig there. Already had one, but it was too far in. The expensive travel wasn't worth it. But so I was the best. And then in academia and PhD, I was the best in the world with that. Wrestling, I wasn't the best. I was really good. I had a lot of potential and really good at really good levels, like really good, but not the best, but really good. So that's a big pool. That's a big ocean to be part of. And I was a much less evolved being in terms of mindset. I really rode off the steam of my dad pushing me and, getting all the love and attention and admiration that I sought as a kid by being successful with wrestling. So that those motivations will only take you so far into the pain. Ultimately, I was aiming to be successful at that stuff for the social dynamics, for the women, for the relationships, for the opportunities and survival. To be glorious on stage would ensure my survival. I could coach anywhere forever, doing the thing I loved, and I still love wrestling, but pursuing it like that, damaging the body and hurting my cells and nervous system with the diet and everything, like it wasn't my purpose to be a wrestler. Although such a useful skill that's so useful in my purpose now. So I kept upgrading, and you can too. And I started all this with becoming comfortable. And it's important because social dynamics is what you're pursuing, right? Can you see it now? I've said it, and I explained it with probably way too many words, but hopefully you got it. So it's important to be comfortable social dynamically. If you're uncomfortable, that's just putting your foot in your mouth. You say the wrong word, or you fumble your words sometimes, or stutter, or you fart, or, something weird, or you react weird, or you accidentally pick your nose because you do that in private and you forgot you were in public. Like weird things. Just slip up. Moments of slip up, kill it. You could be 99% right. That 1% that you did something weird, it reacted weird, you said the wrong word, you offended somebody, the wrong person. Like it could just be a gesture. You're there for 2 hours, and in 2 seconds, you do a wrong gesture. And it could just kill things. Being comfortable ensures. Yeah, that's the right word. It ensures. It doesn't fully insure it, but it gives you some insurance that even if you flub up, you'll respond to the flub up, whatever the reaction of the environment, you'll respond even better because You'll be more comfortable. You didn't mean to do it. Didn't come from a tension, a hostility. And if you're comfortable, you're less likely to flub up because you're more present. Tension is attention inward. Relaxation and comfortable, you're more attentive outward. Making sense? Okay, so we have people on the stream everywhere. If you have any comments, we also have Zay in the house. Last day that he's here, full day before he goes back to base 3, Los Angeles, where he's from. Guys, there's IMC guys all around on all these streams. Some of you are freeloaders, but some of you are also participants, in this stuff. So, you can come and live here. And there's people on Ninth Limb Yoga, their YouTube. So I haven't talked too much about yoga at this time. I introduced it, but I will talk about breathing and being comfortable. So you guys can look forward to that, I guess. Okay. Any comments? Any ideas from you, Master Zay?
Okay, sorry.
It's fine if not, but if there is, then yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely say
Sure, he's gonna pull up.
yeah,
Sorry, I kind of pulled a chair to the desk. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I would say even my experience from last night. I had an experience just to really go out with all of base 1 again. And it was interesting just to see how the subtle movements, the subtle things that you do play a big part in your social dynamics. Like, for example, I got corrected that whenever you stand up, whenever somebody comes to greet your table, you stand up and you greet them rather than just sitting down.
Yeah.
And I saw the big difference that played definitely yesterday, because it makes the person that's coming in feel very important at the same time. And at the same time, it makes
good energetically. It's very
good energetic. Yeah. And at the same time, you look respectful as well, so you both can actually benefit from that interaction. And just being around AZD, seeing how the way he operates, whenever you go back to your social environment, you're just more aware of everything. Like, for example, I got to see how important body language really was, in the sense of how the way people are sitting down facing. Like, there could be guys who are totally facing a girl this way, and a girl's facing the table. Now, the guy's not aware that he looks low value, but the thing is that he is low value. He's just not aware of that in the moment, and he's just chilling there, probably just watching. But from the outside, which I believe everybody's trying to look cool. They're not. He wouldn't be doing that if he knew that was low value, but he's just not aware of that. So just last night, I just got a chance to really see, just to really broaden my awareness, because we're just not taught that as growing up. Not taught how to be aware of our environments. At the same time, you have the top guy on the planet, the top player on the planet, who's been doing this for years, and gaming venues and environments, and bringing value to the environments. You start to see that, man, you can really learn a lot just by sitting there, and then learning how the way he interacts with the environment. And I think that's truly powerful, because it just aids in your own survival. So just that, and of course, it's been here for another week. Just an opportunity just to really sharpen the process, seeing how the other brothers are, of course, base 1. They're on top of the AZD process. It's not like you live at like if you was living by yourself with some roommates, you hear how AZD runs his day to day. That that you're the only one doing it. Over here, everybody's doing it. And it may take a little bit. Maybe you could tell your friends, hey, have you heard of waking up early, having a wake up time, taking a cold shower? Have you heard of changing your diet? Might just, you can convince them for an hour. They're like, oh, that's a great idea, bro. I can see how that works. But they're not going to change really quickly, And so when I got a chance to be out here, I see how every brother just on their diet, just on the process. And it really helped me out a lot to be a lot sharper.
Oh, yeah. That's great. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Man, that brings up so many ideas. I'm going to keep talking, because this is, let's see if I had any more questions for you. No. I mean, you feel more comfortable socially, obviously.
Yeah.
And just more comfortable as a person. It's more comfortable to be around you. I think that's real important.
Right.
I framed this show in a certain context. This is Sunday show, so I'm streaming to the yoga channel and a little bit of yoga emphasis. But what you bring up are a lot of things, disciplined living, survival. I think there's a lot of anti-survival ethics in people. They sacrifice themselves. They think they should sacrifice for others or for either an unknown other or some like personal other. And, especially in the spiritual community, they think that they'll accrue good karma or, somehow it'll benefit them in the afterlife. That's really where the self-sacrificing, philosophy comes from. And not realizing that, at a deep level, they'll feel bad about that because they're compromising their own survival. That surviving better will feel better. That feelings are a biological result of surviving better.
Right.
And that's part of a philosophy that perhaps yogis, they don't even want to buy into because they think that's bad karma or bad juju or something to live for yourself. Not realizing that living for yourself does include taking care of people close to you, and loyalty and ethics are in there. It's a longer term sense of survival. It's not just what's immediate right now. That's where people will think it's all savage. Like, you survive right now, you're just going to, take the woman and rape her now because it's, pro replication. That's anti-survival. And obviously just a longer outlook on that it's not a good thing. So, same thing with like treating your friends well or, maintaining loyalty, sometimes adjusting to the certain pecking order in different environments, not because it compromises your survival in the moment, but overall it may raise your survival to be part of a group that's doing that. Like, you don't always have to be the biggest shot in the room. And, so being sensitive to how your own sense of survival and surviving relates to your emotional state, and how your emotional state is going to relate to how you communicate. And certain people will suppress how they feel so that they behave in a certain range, and they're exerting a lot of horsepower internally to keep it under control so they can't freely express. And that's where ninth limb yoga came in. Everything you were saying about like being socially aware. I saw AD at the time. His social awareness was something I was looking for. Again, like in all of those things, I was looking for social success. And so awareness of body language and what people are doing and adjusting, and, the deep, subtle details in their communication and how that like is reflective of their mindset and what they're thinking about. And your ability to get so close with someone energetically and mentally through communication. I saw that yoga needed to be for that. That yoga was to get better at communicating. And you also needed philosophy. You could not just do yoga and be a perfect communicator, because we have so many negative impressions in us and patterns that you need a better way. You can't just erase your patterns. You got to replace your patterns. It doesn't work to erase patterns. You could go in the Himalayas and isolate and get away from everything. Your patterns will cool down. They'll settle down. You won't see them so much. But if ever you return to society, your patterns are still there. You have to replace your patterns with better patterns. And that's where philosophy and the science of social dynamics comes in. But yoga was so good for opening you up and making you receptive to new patterns if done right. So that's what I was going to talk about with comfort building and yoga for the people in the yoga audience.
Powerful. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
That's Zay in the background, president of Monk Life Records, our record label with IMC Nation, down there at base 3, living in Los Angeles area. Moved across the country from Atlanta to our base in Phoenix, then upgraded to a base in Los Angeles with one of the Crusades, who are the big cojones in IMC Nation when it comes to, investing in people and making business. And they've made like 10 businesses with guys in IMC. Okay. So, and then guys that are on the TikToks, whatever, you can click the link in the bio to see how to participate. Guys on, or girls and guys on YouTube, if you want to subscribe, the link is in the bio or the description there to train. I give yoga today at 5 online and recorded, so you get it everywhere. You get all the recordings. There's like 50 classes so far. A lot of great topics. I cover really great stuff. Very, cutting edge, innovative, and effective. So, talking about comfort socially, and I was saying social awareness and yoga needs to be for becoming a better communicator. You need to repattern your communication. A lot of, like I said, yogis, they'll isolate themselves, practice for themselves, and they'll get calm, but then put them in a social setting. They still have all these weird patterns. And especially put them around beautiful women, get them in a relationship. They have all these super weird patterns. And they actually worship the woman so much that they'll let the woman repattern them. So you'll see guys that are all yogaed out and like open and whatever, and they get in a relationship. They turn more beta faster than anything you've ever seen, because they're so open to new patterns. And then they're around these women that they're going on their agenda. Women are self-serving and they're very indirect about it. It's hard to perceive until you learn about it. but they're completely self-serving. So they'll mold the man into exactly whatever they need. Of course, they don't have farsight, so they're not looking out for their future. They're going to waste all of their youth on a guy that they're ultimately going to leave when they're completely fed up with him. And then they've lost their youth and they're not going to be able to get as high value of a man. But they're short-sighted. So, that's some of the red pill that's hard for the spiritual community to swallow. This is why I got banned from like 1 or 2 studios out of 65 that I taught at, because the wrong word was said to the wrong person about the truth, and they couldn't handle it. I probably said it in a weird way too, because I'm climbing out of my garbage past also. So hold it against me, whatever. Go ahead. I'm doing better than you. That's why you're watching. I'm better socially than you. That's why you're watching. If not, don't watch. Don't worry about it. I'm not losing anything. I'm doing you all a favor, giving it out. The class is underpriced. All the class, everything is underpriced, far underpriced. That's why people keep buying it. Whether you're buying it or not will be up to you and your evolution. So comfortable socially, being able to tap into being comfortable socially. How does one do that? You can practice being comfortable, and I recommend you do. So you have a yoga practice. A personal yoga practice is best. That's why I teach the way I do in the yoga class. It's so that you learn movements, sometimes repeated, often in a different sequence, that you can do at any time. You can break it down to a 2-minute practice, 20-minute practice, a 2-hour practice. If you did everything I taught, do 2 hours, no problem. But having a personal practice that you tap in raises your threshold, raises your baseline of what comfortable is. You become the most comfortable when you practice alone at home, in the comfort and safety of your place. But then you got to go out and practice socially. You got to bring that comfort to the world. That's what Ninth Limb Yoga was, bringing your yoga to the world. And then you learn that you really care about people's opinions. You do get uncomfortable by situations, by what people say. Words do affect you. Opinions do affect you. Okay, relax. Get to your threshold, like you're working out, and then you go back and you work on your comfort. And then back and forth, you gradually get better and better and more comfortable socially. That's going to have a lot better karma for you. You're going to misspeak a lot less. You know what I mean? What do you guys think about that? Making sense? Good. Okay. So even that, social dynamically, dimming my voice as the girl walks past with her boyfriend, my housemate. I don't need words going into that and being mistaken the other way or drawing unnecessary attention, but also not pausing awkwardly. So, got to handle it all ways. Next time I'll probably pause before, be like, I'm going to pause for a second while my housemate walks his girl by. Then everybody knows, and then there's nothing back and forth. Also not making it awkward, because as they walk by, if there's absolutely no noise in here, but it's obvious there's guys in here, that becomes a thing that pulls your attention. You'll know the first time you walk your girl by, and it's like, there's guys in there. She knows there's guys in there. Everybody's quiet, so everything is heard like a pin drop. That's also not good, because then when the girl's voice is said, then we're hearing it. So there's got to be an ocean of sound happening so we can all focus on our sounds. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing when we're out in field. So your friend is talking to a pretty girl. You don't need to be all up in the conversation, but you don't need to be a wallflower next to it, not doing anything. Somehow you got to be in communication with the environment. That helps make her comfortable. You'll feel it's better energy. Just like Zay was saying, he was saying something and I was like, it's better energy. Knowing how to communicate helps transfer the energies, cycles them, and then can even expand them if done right. And learning how to do that in so many variety of contexts is what's going to make you a social master that you can leverage any situation to get ahead. And that's what you want. That's what a responsible, ethical, wise individual would want to do. Take responsibility for the situations you find yourself in. People will fall in line behind you. You keep moving forward, and it's better for everybody. I don't know if this was them walking by again or if that was Nando. Maybe that was Nando. Yeah, it's probably Nando. Yeah. All right, so this doesn't have to be a super long episode. How you tap in socially, sometimes you find yourself uncomfortable, or you could make yourself more comfortable. Like if you asked yourself now, I'll bet you could be even more comfortable. Me yelling at the camera probably isn't helping you become comfortable, so I changed the sound of my voice. How you're talking can make yourself more comfortable. A long time ago, I used to blow minds or whatever, should you match the energy of the person you speak to? Similar, you should definitely be similar. I don't know if matching, can be quite kind of robotic if you just match people, but yeah, I mean, you get the idea, you kind of should. It depends on what effect you want, but if you want rapport, yeah, you should be around. You should be able to play with their energy like you were in a band. I don't know if you got to match it, but you should be able to play with each other. It sounds weird when I say that, but you know what I mean. So I was about to say something, but comfort, how you tap in. Sometimes you're uncomfortable, or you could be even more comfortable. Whatever you're doing, just check. Could you sit more comfortably? That doesn't mean slouching, because slouch long enough, it becomes uncomfortable. Is there a way you can sit comfortably, breathe comfortably, look comfortably, hold your face comfortably, be comfortable without being lethargic or lazy or dim in any way? Yes, sir. So the personal yoga practice will help you be able to tap in with breathing, posture, energy flow, and emotions, but then being in social environments and settings and pushing just a little bit. You don't got to throw yourself in a nightclub or in high business environment if you're totally not used to that. Just the next step forward. Just like in a yoga pose, you would stretch, but you don't try to do the split if you're far from it. You just go to the edge. So socially, go to the edge, play around a little bit, and then recoup, rejuvenate, and then do it again day after day. You get better. That's what people, I mean, I have videos on YouTube now for 8 or 9 years. You can see my social awkwardness. You can go hear how I sounded. The first videos, I didn't even talk at all. They were just videos of me doing movement because I didn't know how to talk. So it's easy to observe. I've been on an evolution. I wonder where your evolution's at. If you're not even putting your evolution out socially, you don't have to be a social media junkie or some kind of attention hog. That's not what it is. You could call it that, but then I don't know why you're watching. You're just a hater. That's not what it is. It's a documentation. It's a time capsule of my own evolution for myself and for anyone who gets close to me, business-wise or otherwise. So, and it serves business, so it's integrated with my life. So I've definitely evolved in that manner, and that's what it is. It's personal practice, stepping out socially, personal practice socially, personal, social, personal, social, personal, social. And that's evolved, and that's very similar to AZD process. And his process is masterful socially. I'm masterful yoga wise. So I bring what I know to it, and it becomes a mix, and that's what I share. And but the lockdown process is a personal reflective process. Transcendental meditation is a reflective process. Relaxation is so emphasized in the AZD process. I take it a step further with yoga, and I relax better than everybody right now. So there's that. And then socially, back and forth, back and forth. Then add to that, you need philosophy. You're not just going to figure it out on your own because you have so many latent negative patterns. You need new patterning, and it's too slow to trial and error. Just redo your patterns. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. There's teachers, just like in everything, just like in yoga. There's teachers. They shorten your evolution. They accelerate you. They avoid unnecessary suffering, unnecessary karma. It's unnecessary. You would only not train with the teacher to cut your own survival, because somehow you think it's improving your survival, but it's actually cutting your survival. Somehow you reason $97 a month, or my yoga course is $66 a month online. $66 or $97 a month to yourself is more survival than all the wisdom or all the relaxation in the world. AZD's class is all the useful wisdom. You don't need other wisdom. Other things, other trivias, other facts will be useful, but you need for fulfillment how to relate with women. Game, as we call it. So you're just wasting time if you're not on that as a guy. And then girls and guys, if you're not on my yoga, you're way more tense than you know what to do with, honestly. And maybe this lifetime, maybe next lifetime, you'll realize that your tension is inhibiting your evolution. It's in the way. And how do you relax? I don't know what you're doing about it, but the link is right there. Sign up. Yoga, $66 a month. You get tons of recordings. It's 8 or 9 classes a month, about 30 to 60 minutes. You can ask questions. You get the Telegram group. It's all that. It's great. Okay, are there any questions out there? Any other questions or comments? I'm just gonna, nah. You got to get better. You got to get better. Or don't, but, you're wasting your own life. I don't know if you're on drugs or whatever, wasting life. What's your name? I'm Yogi Chris, captain of IMC Nation. And I live here with AZD, founder of IMC Nation. Those are on the TikToks, responding to comments. Appreciate all the likes, thousands of likes over there. TikToks are big, thriving. All right. We good? Finished everywhere? Thank you, everybody, for attending this stream. And I'll see you on the next Enlightened Masculinity. You can check it out, all the recordings on Apple, Spotify, see everything, see my interviews with IMC guys, other spiritual people from the past, and, you know, time capsule of this evolution here. Evolution's real. Click the link in the descriptions, wherever you are. Jay Guru Dev. Praise the Lord.